Yup, still don't know. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, a podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Right after recording this, I'm going to have to go to urgent care because my throat is gnarly, so apologies if my voice is not really that great in this episode.
Hospital? What is it?
It's a big building with patients, but that's not important right now.
Grossi. And today, I probably should have done a shorter intro. Today, we are going to be ranking the top 10 teams heading into Week 7. Last week was a disaster. Not only was it incredibly difficult to pick the top 10 teams in this league because there's been so many upsets and so much chaos, but on top of that, I also pissed off 49ers fans and didn't give them an honorable mention, which now seems to have aged well. But it didn't back then, and I'm still sorry, 49ers fans, but maybe now we're even for the playoff thing. But heading into this week, you had the Eagles lose their second straight game. The Bills lose their second straight game. The Cowboys lost to the Panthers. The Lions lost to the Chiefs. It is pandemonium in the NFL right now, and we are getting closer and closer to the halfway mark of the season. With very few clear front runners, this is going to be a challenge. And so before we get into the top 10, it's time to do some honorable mentions. And I gotta mention about the honorable mentions that these are not 11, 12, 13. This is not numerical. These are just teams that have done pretty darn well. And so because of that, they get an honorable mention. Starting off with the first team, and that is the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons able to knock down the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football last night. They jumped out to an early lead. Bijan Robinson running all over that Buffalo defense, which is, yeah, it is not great. And the Bills, they're going to be taking a break from the top 10 because not only have they lost their second straight game, but that defense, they truly need to fix their problems. On top of that, the lack of wide receiver depth or a true wide receiver one who at least could be a deep threat. I know they had Palmer when he was in, but unfortunately right now, it just seems like this is the Josh Allen show. And if James Cook can't get things going, it is a problem for Buffalo. All that being said, the Falcons, who I picked in predictions to have the upset, they played a phenomenal game. Jumping out to a 21-7 lead and being able to hold on to it to end that game. The Falcons deserve a lot of credit. And while Atlanta has not been the most consistent team, looking at that loss to the Panthers, I gotta give the Falcons a big old shout out. Who knows, maybe next week they will be in the top 10, but for now, they get an honorable mention. Following that, yeah, I'm so sorry, you gotta shout out the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, listen, you should have been in the top 10 or at least an honorable mention last week. And while things have just gotten even more grim, I gotta give you a shout out because you were able to play pretty damn hard against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sure, the Buccaneers were finally able to get a win that wasn't in the last minute of the fourth quarter, but considering all the injuries to this team and the fact that they're still battling and kept that game close, they deserve some credit. The problem with the 49ers is now they have lost Fred Warner for the year. Considering their injury report is basically the size of a textbook, yeah, this may be one too many injuries for the 49ers, and so because of that, I can't in good faith put them in the top 10 because I don't know what their immediate future is going to look like. We'll see if Robert Saleh can do some magic. That defense has been really darn consistent, but again, they do deserve some credit being able to win and be competitive with all these injuries. We'll see if they're able to sustain it going forward. And another honorable mention, you got the New York Giants. Throw the jersey away. Cam Scatterboo, 3 touchdowns. Jackson Dart played phenomenally well. Russell Wilson, he got booed out of the building. But they were able to not only beat the Philadelphia Eagles, they whooped the Philadelphia Eagles. That defense was able to do its job against a lethargic Eagles offense, which really has not found its groove this year. Saquon Barkley, besides those 2 rushes for 31 yards at the very first drive, was basically a non-factor, and the Giants deserve a ton of credit. Of course, Jackson Dart's first game, he was able to knock off the Chargers. Then they lost to the Saints, and now on a short week, able to knock off the defending Super Bowl champs. They deserve a shout out. It seems like there is some hope back in New York, and we shall see if the Giants are really contenders. Then our penultimate shout out, I gotta give one to the LA Chargers. The Chargers, was a little bit of a dicey win, and maybe if it was a little bit more decisive, I would have given them a spot in the top 10. But they deserve a ton of credit because they were able to have a great run game without Joe Alt, without Rashawn Slater, and without Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris. They were able to move the ball on the ground, and even though the Dolphins were able to claw their way back into this game, the Chargers were able to do enough to keep them at bay. The good news for the Chargers is that Joe Alt should be coming back sooner rather than later, and getting him back is going to be a huge boost to that offensive line. Sooner or later, they'll get Omarion Hampton back as well, and if he's able to pick up right where he left off, I think the Chargers have a good shot at remaining at the top of the AFC West. But for right now, I'm going to give them an honorable mention, battling through those injuries, and we'll see if they can bolt it the hell up. And finally, and of course, the one day that I can barely talk, I decide to pick 5 honorable mentions. You got the Carolina Panthers. Boom! Panthers keep on freaking pounding. Rico Dowdle, 2 weeks in a row, having a sensational game. He had his revenge game against the Dallas Cowboys this past week. Their defense made the stops that the Cowboys could not. Bryce Young looked pretty damn good. And overall, the Panthers, it seems like there's some optimism once again. Because a few weeks ago, Panthers fans were ready to give up on the season. Hell, you had podcasters leaving their show. They're like, you know what? I'd rather spend time with my family. But now, who knows where the Panthers are going to go. It's a competitive NFC South, which is not something I thought I'd be saying by week 7. And for Carolina, let's see if they could use this win to propel them forward, because right now, those Panthers are going meow. And so let us get into the top 10. Originally, I was going to put the Eagles here, but then I was like, oh, wait, this team beat them. Starting off with number 10, you got the Denver Broncos, who played a game. I don't know if that game could actually be defined as an official football game because it was atrocious. The Jets had -10 passing yards, and while the Broncos offense is definitely questionable, that defense is pretty legit.
Never half-ass 2 things. Whole-ass 1 thing.
The Broncos sacking Justin Fields 9 times. The Seahawks, who are on these power rankings, they were able to sack Trevor Lawrence 7 times, and we're still talking about Denver. And while their offense definitely was not good, you got to give a little bit of credit to the Jets, even though they have not won a game yet. They were at least making it difficult for Denver to move the football. And while, again, I do have a lot of question marks about Bo Nix and that offense overall, especially when J.K. Dobbins can't get things going, their defense has been consistent every single week. Their pass rush is one of, if not the best in the NFL. And so because of that, they deserve a lot of credit. They're hanging out on top of the division with the Chargers while the Chiefs are very close behind. And while their offense might give me some pause, I gotta recognize that defense is damn good. And as long as they're winning, hey, they find themselves in the top 10. Number 9, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're back. The Chiefs able to knock off the Lions on Sunday Night Football. Of course, there's been some drama and some controversy, not only just with Brian Branch throwing punches and getting suspended for a week, but also the fact that there were no penalties called against the Chiefs. That Jared Goff penalty is fine with me. You can look at the defensive pass interference, and maybe you can have an argument there. But there was only 4 penalties called all night. 1 was technically on the Chiefs for offsides, and then they called it back. And the reason that I'm prefacing all of this with the officiating is because actually looking at the game, the Lions were just outplayed. The Kansas City Chiefs were looking real damn good. And honestly, they might be starting to heat up, and they're about to get Rashee Rice back.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
The Chiefs' offense, while Patrick Mahomes is still doing a whole bunch of running, Pacheco had himself a really good night. The defense was able to get after Jared Goff, and it just seemed like, and I know the Lions secondary is injured to hell, the Chiefs were able to move the ball with ease. And so while they did lose to the Jaguars last week, this is a really big win for Kansas City. We talk about Rashee Rice coming back. Xavier Worthy has already made that offense better. Hell, Thornton was basically a non-factor the entire game. I'm really curious to see what this offense is going to look like next week. I know they were already missing Simmons from Sunday night, and so if that Chiefs offense comes back at full power, watch out, NFL. They coming. Number 8, You got the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars ranking just a notch higher than the Kansas City Chiefs because they were able to knock them off last Monday. But the Jaguars suffering a loss against the Seattle Seahawks, who have been looking fantastic. And listen, even though the Jaguars lost, I think there's some positives that you can pull from this game. First off, their run defense did a really nice job neutralizing the rushing attack from the Seattle Seahawks. And on top of that, Trevor Lawrence didn't throw a single interception. He kept on battling back, even though he was sacked 7 times.
I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah, the offensive line did not do a fantastic job against the Seattle Seahawks, but the Jaguars to me still feel like a very gritty football team. When they're able to get the run going, which they were not able to do with ETN in this past game, they can be a really balanced offense. Throw in Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, and that offense has a ton of potential. Now, unfortunately for the Jaguars, the Colts keep on winning, but ultimately I still think we're going to be talking about Jacksonville in high regards as the season goes along and gets a little bit later into the year. But for right now, a loss sends them tumbling down a little bit, but still remaining at number 8. Number 7, you got the New England Patriots. The Patriots, holy cow, man. Coming off a big win against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football, they were able to replicate their success in getting another win against the New Orleans Saints. Drake May having yet another nice game. However, there were a couple of, let's say, questionable calls that took away some big-time throws, including another touchdown.
Stone it. Stone it.
It's the refs. They're trying to prevent the second coming of the Empire. But let's talk about the New England Patriots. I really like the Patriots right now. They are playing some really damn good football. If Ramondre Stevenson doesn't fumble, it's a good day. But they have a pretty solid ground game. On top of that, their defense has been consistent as hell. And Drake May, over these past few weeks, not only has the protection been good, but he has made some big-time throws. In addition, they're currently atop the AFC East. With the Bills losing to the Falcons, this is a great opportunity for the Patriots to put some distance between them and the Bills, who they already have a win over. They're going to be playing the Tennessee Titans next week in Mike Vrabel's revenge game. And considering they just fired their head coach and Cam Ward is getting sacked constantly, I don't think this is going to be a pretty game for Tennessee. It should be another win for the Patriots, who will continue to keep on climbing until they're at the top and they take no mercy and they win 6 more Super Bowls. And yeah, I think they're back. Number 6, you're finally out of the honorable mentions. You got the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks fans, rejoice. I know you have been waiting. Your time has come, and well earned, because the Seahawks, they have been playing some really damn consistent football. Sam Darnold playing incredibly well, and that Sam Darnold to JSN connection is looking better and better.
It's beautiful.
And I gotta be honest, with JSN going off like he has this season, he is looking like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL in 2025. Just keep on throwing the ball to him, which is exactly what Seattle did against the Jaguars. Now, the Seattle Seahawks secondary is banged up right now, and that's definitely some cause for concern, but who stepped up? Their defensive line. Sacking Trevor Lawrence 7 freaking times is genuinely impressive. Sam Darnold's not really turning the ball over, and when they are able to get that ground game going with Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, they are a very balanced offense. And considering the 49ers keep on losing folks left and right, the Rams were able to get a gritty win against the Ravens, though it wasn't super duper impressive, and Puka Nacua got banged up. The Seahawks are in prime position to potentially take first place in the NFC West. And so right now, the Seahawks deserve their praise. They're sitting at number 6. And I'm sorry again, 49ers fans. Number 5, you got the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. The Packers went up 10-0 against Joe Flacco, and they didn't blow the lead.
I never doubted you for a second. Wonderful.
The Packers getting their first win in over a month, and yet somehow, some way, they only have 1 loss, are first place in the NFC North, and are currently second in the entirety of the NFC. And let's talk about this game. Obviously, there's some things that were inconsistent. Jamar Chase was able to go off at the end of that game and make that game a lot closer than it was for 3 of those quarters. But again, we saw that literally against the Cleveland Browns, where the Browns were able to beat the Packers after they were up by 10. Thankfully, and here was the big difference, Jordan Love, besides his first drive interception, was really damn good on the day. But Jordan Love operating that offense, along with Josh Jacobs, who had a fantastic day on Sunday, they were able to score 17 points in the fourth quarter and put that game away. Now, Lucas Van Ness, who got injured in that game and had the only sack, he seems to be okay, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be a serious injury. However, that pass rush does need to get better. While they are getting plenty of pressure, Joe Flacco did a really nice job neutralizing that pass rush as he was able to get the ball out quickly. And unfortunately, we've seen that a few times. 2 times from Joe Flacco this season. And so as the season goes along, we're really going to need more contributions from Rashawn Gary, from Lucas Van Ness, as Micah Parsons going to continue to get doubled and also held. The Packers are in a good spot right now. They're leading their division. They got the Cardinals next week, and then they got a date with Aaron Rodgers on Sunday Night Football. We'll see how they do over these next 2 games. But for right now, the Pack are kind of back. Number 4, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know, man. What's going on? Could you have predicted that the Steelers would be a top 5 team heading into week 7 of the NFL? I couldn't. The Steelers, not only do they keep on winning game as they obliterated the Cleveland Browns on Sunday, Rodgers looked good, the defense looked really good, but they are also probably in the most fortunate spot in terms of division. The Ravens are falling apart at the seams. The Browns can't win a game. The Bengals are relying on Joe Flacco. And this Thursday night, I think we're all looking forward to that chess match between Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. Yeah, that is definitely going to be a game. But the Steelers deserve a lot of credit here. Their defense, which was definitely suspect the first few weeks of the season, has looked a lot better as the weeks have gone along. That DK Metcalf trade is paying off very, very well. And while Jalen Warren wasn't able to get a ton on the ground, their run defense was very good because Judkins has been pretty darn good for Cleveland over these past few weeks. And so with Aaron Rodgers playing efficient football, getting the ball out quickly, their defense looks to have returned to form, and their division is falling apart, I think just off of process of elimination, the Steelers find themselves in the top 5 at number 4. And maybe, just maybe, this year, Steelers go to Super Bowl. Number 3, you got the Detroit Lions. They were number 1 last week, taking a tumble only 2 spots as they were defeated by the Kansas City Chiefs this past Sunday. And I'm not going to be overly harsh on the Lions. First of all, let's look at their secondary. Besides Brian Branch going and punching someone and getting suspended for a week, their secondary is banged up. They have so many holes on that defense. However, for a good chunk of that game, they were still able to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs, and it was a close game until maybe later in that fourth quarter. Aiden Hutchinson is still playing his ass off as he was able to get after Patrick Mahomes. He was able to force a fumble. And again, there's a lot of things to like about the Detroit Lions, especially their pass rush, especially Aiden Hutchinson. But with that secondary being so banged up, it's just going to be a problem for them going forward until they get fully healthy, if they ever get fully healthy. And taking a look ahead, the Lions got a big matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next Monday. Let's see if they can break that curse.
Wait to lift the curse until the opportune moment.
And so whether they're cursed with injuries or Perna's curse wheel or Brian Branch's temper, you still got to give a shout out to that offense. For the majority of that game, they kept Jared Goff clean and upright. Jahmyr Gibbs was able to find some running room, but Amon-Ra St. Brown did not have his best game whatsoever, and it feels like the Lions are just trying to play with one arm tied behind their back. I know there's some Lions fans that are upset about officiating, but overall, they got outplayed by the Chiefs. That all being said, I still think they are a very good football team. I'm also not going to give the Lions a ton of flack because this is the first game that they have lost since the first week of the season. And so I think they deserve some credit for that. I still think they belong in the top 5. The question is, if they don't get healthy and they lose to the Buccaneers, how long can they possibly stay on these power rankings? Hopefully not a long time. Number 2, in what world? You got the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts. Oh boy, that was a little bit of a scary game, as Colts fans probably didn't think it would be that close against the Arizona Cardinals.
Got a tank.
What do you think you're doing there? Get up!
Dad, we're well out of range.
But Daniel Jones continuing his winning ways, and Jonathan Taylor, he really is the standout right now on that Colts offense. He is playing phenomenal football and is one of the reasons why they are playing so freaking well. And for the Colts, there is a lot to like. Their defense is better. Their offense is moving the ball. They are efficient. Daniel Jones is playing well. Tyler Warren is proving week in and week out that he was the right draft pick in round 1. And overall for the Colts, they are sitting atop not only their division, but atop the AFC. They are the number 1 seed through the first 6 weeks of this NFL season in the AFC. That's damn impressive. They deserve all the credit in the world. Within this next month or so, they have some tough games on their schedule, so they will definitely be put to the test. But right now, they have a nice little division lead. The Jaguars lost this week. They're number 1 in the conference. And so for that, the Colts are at number 2. And number 1, your brand new number 1, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Holy cow. The Buccaneers, number 1 in the NFC right now, and their division is looking pretty darn good, besides the Saints. And I think it's just been proven week in and week out that Baker Mayfield, he ain't afraid of anything.
Don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfowl.
Yep.
Sharp rocks at the bottom?
Most likely.
Bring it on.
Baker Mayfield, it doesn't matter if he doesn't have his wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter if his offensive line is banged up. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have Bucky Irving. He is finding ways to propel his team to victory. And they were able to do so against the San Francisco 49ers, who, yes, are very banged up right now, but they've been a very competitive team. And the Buccaneers have been one of the most consistent teams in football. Besides that heartbreaking loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, which they almost won, they have been nearly perfect this entire season. And to do that with a growing list of injuries is really damn impressive. And on top of that, their defense does have some question marks, but they're able to get the job done. Now, heading into next week against the Lions, that defense is going to be facing a very tough test. And on top of that, Baker has almost none of his weapons. We'll see if Bucky Irving is able to make it back next week, as that would be a huge upgrade for that offense. But overall, the Buccaneers, and especially Baker Mayfield, deserve a ton of credit. He is playing like an MVP through the first 6 weeks of the season. And so because of that, fire the cannons, Bucs fans, because your Buccaneers are at number 1. And so just to recap, at number 1, you got the Buccaneers. 2 Colts, 3 Lions, 4 Steelers, 5 Packers, 6 Seahawks, 7 Patriots, 8 Jaguars, 9 Chiefs, and 10 Broncos. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who should be on this list? Who should be off of it? Let me know. You guys saw me at TomGrossiComedy.com, and a big shout and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'm going to urgent care. I'm going to urgent care now. I'm Tom Grossi, and as always, go Pack Go.